This was the last thing I thought I'd be talking about today, but it's a pleasant surprise none the least. Hey, what's up? It's your boy Dynasty back with another MK2 Mortal Kombat 2021 live-action reboot movie sequel update. The last time we discussed this movie right here was, I want to say, about a month or so ago when we got the confirmation that this movie would be dropping in October of 2025. And funny enough, at the time, a lot of you guys, myself included, were kind of bummed because this movie just seems so far away. There's been talk for a long time that maybe by the end of this year, we'd see our first ever official trailer for this movie. But other than that, this movie just seemed like something to be kept in the back of our minds for a while now, which is why you could imagine when I found out this morning that yesterday afternoon in Burbank, California, LA, WB held apparently a test screening for Mortal Kombat 2. And like you'd imagine, since then, there's been some allegedly, there's been some storyline details spreading like wildfire all throughout social media. Alleged information about this movie, and even then, if any of this information, details about the movie that are coming out from this test screening are legitimate, keep in mind, things are always subject to change because this is quite literally a test screening to piece together the best version of this movie. So just because we're seeing things in this test screening coming out does not mean it's going to be 110% what the final product of this movie is. So before we break down all those details, just want to kind of emphasize on that because it's not all doom and gloom. I'm still having some optimism here. For the most part, everything coming out isn't too alarming. There's a few things that are kind of surprising. There's definitely some things that are really surprising, but I'm still holding out hope that this movie's going to be okay, especially because since we now got confirmation of this test screening in LA yesterday, producer Todd Garnis came out and confirmed that the reception he got after the test screening was relatively pretty good from actual Mortal Kombat fans. So with that said, if you're excited to hear me talk about this alleged information about this test screening, again, this is all alleged. This is all alleged. It's coming from Twitter accounts that promote like movies and things of that sort, so they have some credibility, but even then, I'm sure everything could always get lost in translation. Sadly, I wasn't there, and even if I was there, I think there's an NDA, so I can't even really, share every single thing. So this is essentially a game of telephone. So take this with a grain of salt. It could be made up. It could be real. It's alleged. And if it's real, obviously, it can be changed. So with that said, let's break this stuff down. Let's have some fun, and, well, let's get into it. Now, this is a tweet that's going viral about this movie. Again, everything is alleged. For all I know, this is just BS. You know what I mean? So take it for what it is. Physical Media came out and said Mortal Kombat 2 had a test screening last night. A lot of deaths. It's a Johnny Kitana movie. All characters are sidelined. Great fight sequences. Lots of gore. Carl Urban was okay as Johnny Cage, but maybe a little too old for the role. Kitana was amazing. And for the most part, every other thing I'm seeing about this movie pretty much echoes this exact same sentiment. So a lot of this stuff's kind of no-brainer. A lot of deaths. Well, this is Mortal Kombat. The first movie had quite a few deaths, so that's not really too shocking. Now, what I think's interesting is the second line here. It's a Johnny Kitana movie. Now, we knew for a while now, I mean, the end of the first movie pretty much teases that Johnny is going to be joining the cast, defending Earthrealm. So we knew Johnny would have the spotlight in some degree. I mean, the Carl Urban signing was a big deal at the time. So we knew Johnny Cage would be featured. Hell, Kitana as well. We got the fan teaser in the first movie, so we expected that as well. But to see it saying it's a Johnny Kitana movie and all characters are sidelined, that's what kind of worries me. Now, initially when I saw that tweet, I came out and had this exchange where I mentioned how it just would feel kind of counterintuitive, given that the first movie felt like an introduction to set up the actual Mortal Kombat tournaments. If all the other fighters are sidelined or missing in action, what was the point of the first movie? You feel me? I just don't want the other characters like a Liu Kang, etc. to just not really be showcased because we gotta have Carl Urban be the star of the show. Like, hopefully there's some balance there, especially because, again, if it's Kitana and Johnny just being the main focal point of the storyline this time around, I get that, but they were nowhere to be found in the first movie. great fight sequences being mentioned is awesome because, you know, going back to the first movie, I feel like if you saw the extended cut of those fights, it actually flowed pretty good, the pacing of it. But the actual, like, version that was in the movies, I just kind of felt like it was cut at the wrong time. I didn't like how it looked at the end of the day. I felt like seeing the full-fledged fights actually gave you a better feel of what could have been, and I preferred that. Obviously, there's only a set runtime, right? So they had to cut a lot of that stuff out. I'm hoping they have time to breathe, these fight sequences, because I felt like that was such a disservice to the first movie. So seeing great fight sequences, I'm hoping is a step in the right direction. I'm not going to fall for all the bullshit like in the first movie, how they were saying, we had some great fight scenes, and then the actual production came out and it just scrapped. They scrapped all the good shit. So I'm hoping they don't scrap all the good shit and that stays in the actual, like, theatrical release. Lots of gore to be expected. Carl was okay as Johnny, but maybe a little too old for the role. I mean, it's tough for me to even have an opinion on that because I haven't seen the movie, but I don't know what they mean by that. What do they mean by that? Is he in a damn wheelchair and have a cane? Like, what, how is he too old? How is he being represented? I don't know. So that's interesting. Katana was amazing. That's awesome. That's a thumbs up. So really my only main concern here was just the fact that seeing them saying all characters are sidelined, what the fuck does that mean? Truthfully, what the fuck does that mean? like, does Cole Young just die? Does Scorpion not make an appearance? We know that they're gonna have a bunch of new debuting characters like a Baraka, like a Jade. I understand those characters have to have screen time, but when it comes to like the actual OGs from the first live action reboot film, where are they at? Where's Sonya? What happens to you know, Kano's back. Is Kano just back for a split second? Like, I need to know what they mean by that. So I'm just hoping they're not gone for good, especially Liu Kang, because I think Ludi Lin is just the perfect casting for Liu Kang, and I think he really could do a bit more. In regards to all this, though, people were taking this as if apparently Johnny and Katana were going to be a thing. Like, they're you know, a thing. And Todd Garner says speculation reading into these posts will drive you crazy. So again, that's why I'm not trying to read into it too much. Take it for what it is. It's interesting, at the very least, but I would not lose sleep over this initial report from these testings. Massive shout out to KWA for getting this response from Todd Garner when asked about if there was any truth to this post that we just talked about. And Todd said, I can only say that the best comment from the screenings has been, as a hardcore fan, I finally feel that I've been heard. So it's not doom and gloom. Do not sound the alarm. It's okay. If a diehard fan said that, I think we're okay. Following that, he actually came out and said, after it's finished and released, everyone can and most likely will post about it. Until then, we can continue to learn, tinker, and endeavor to make it the best it can possibly be. So again, this is not set in stone. They could move things around. It just kind of is what it is, but I'm still shocked to know that this was already a thing when this movie is scheduled for October of next year. I just would have thought this would, you know, would have been happening like in December, not the middle of this summer, but hey, fuck it. You know, it is what it is. Small concerns about the rest of the cast being overshadowed by these new characters, but I mean, you know, it is Johnny, it is Katana. If you're diehards of those characters, you're probably excited to know that, but just for me, man, I just feel like, you know, I don't want Liu Kang to be lost in the shuffle. Shang Tsung, Sub-Zero, you know, like, I hope they're not just missing. I really hope they're not. So that's the only real thing I'm concerned about. Everything else is good. Them saying it's a Johnny Katana movie is interesting. New reports from the test screenings, allegedly, again, this is all alleged information off of social media. I wasn't there, and if I was, I couldn't tell you. Who knows if this is legit, but I think it's probably, for the most part, pretty decently accurate. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. But guys, that's all I got for you all today. What do you think of this quick update in regards to the Mortal Kombat 2 movie, allegedly? If you guys are still excited for that movie, do me a solid. It takes you a second. Drop a like on it in the comments down below. I want to hear your opinions on this, obviously. I know a lot of you guys are very opinionated when it comes to the live-action reboot film. So, based on this, what do you think of the sequel? What do you think? Does this sound good to you? Does this sound bad? If this is real, alleged. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Until next time, been your host, Dynasty. Guys, please take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace. 7
on it crack, but I'm not superstitious. Count all these racks, I be steady counting my digits. Slipping on the crack, I am not